Okay, this last video is going to show you how to finish up the project by finishing it up, adding a beveled edge and a shadow to these letters. Right now these letters kind of blend in a little too much to the background. So this is going to jazz it up a little bit, make it a little bit more visually appealing. So what we're going to do is we're going to add, like I said, a shadow and a beveled edge or a glowing edge. We're going to play around with some of these attributes that we can add to the layer. So just to kind of give you an example, I want you to look at this particular layer here that I highlight, D2. So that would be this first letter here. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Layer, and we're going to go to Layer Style and Style Settings. A window pops up and you have some things like drop shadow, bevel, stroke, glow. We're going to use these three. Okay, we're probably not going to use stroke at all. I mean, if you want to, if you look at it and you decide that you want to use it, that's fine. Now, drop shadow will literally create a drop shadow. Now, if I got to drag some of these attributes over, size indicates sort of like the depth of the shadow. Distance, you can see it's starting to drag off. Another thing you can do is actually change the direction of these shadows by dragging this around. I hope you spend a little while playing with these things because it's pretty cool. And the opacity will make it kind of faded or pretty deep, depending on what you want. And you find your taste. Now, unfortunately, the problem with this is, and I'll talk about glow and bevel and the stroke in a little bit, but the problem with this is that it's only happening to one of the layers. What I would want to happen is this happening to all 6 of these layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine all 6 of these layers into one. So everything that happens to one will happen to the other evenly. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all 6 of these. Now, and that's just highlighting them or selecting them. To select more than one, if you hold down the command button, it will allow you, and this should sound familiar, holding down the command button and clicking each one individually. By holding that command button down, it will allow you to select more than one. I am now going to right click and I'm going to go to Merge Layers. And you will see they all become one layer and they're all on one field. The background's still separate. You want the background to be separate because imagine if you wanted to change the color of the background. I'm looking at it and I'm saying the color of the background kind of matches a little too much. I can highlight the background, excuse me, cancel that, and I can go to Enhance, Adjust Color, Adjust Hue Saturation. I can hit Colorize, and I can literally change the hue. Because I might be looking at these pictures that have color on itself and I say they just doesn't really pop. So maybe there's another color that, in my opinion, will pop better. If you want the color to be deeper, you can also play around with saturation. It makes the color a little more deep. So let's say I want to do red. I say OK. Okay. So you're going to go back to this particular layer. We're going to go back to where we were before because I want to work with the bevel and the shadow. So you're going to go to Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings. So then you're going to notice, and you want to click on Select Drop Shadow, and then you start dragging these things around, and you could see that these things, I'm going to drag this window over. Anytime you want to drag a window over, it's just a matter of dragging the gray bar on top over. Okay, so you can change the size. The size seems to be the distance a little bit. It makes it fuzzier. So you play around with it until you're content with it. You can always go back to this later. Glow. Okay, let's expand glow. Inner. Inner, what it'll do is it'll give it a little glow on the inside. I don't really want you messing with anything on the outside because you already have a shadow. So again, drop shadow. If you decide to use a glow, you can go with an inner glow. And you can leave it like that. You can say, this has a little bit of a glow and it's a beigey color. And you're happy with that. And you don't want to get too far into the pictures because that's going to lose the nice definition of the color. And then you can change the opacity to your heart's content. Now beveling will make it more squared off, almost like a brick. So you can even do something like that. But once again, you don't want to go in too deep. You want to keep it, maybe a 10 maximum. Yeah, okay. Maybe 30, 40. Stay within, the first quarter. Okay. So you play around with the numbers and you see what it looks like. Direction, it changes the direction of the bevel. Stroke, I don't really think you guys want to use this. It creates a dark outline around these. And if you like it, I would say use it. Just don't get too thick with it, because then you start to lose the background. But if you want a little edge around there, you can. If you change your mind with anything, you just unclick them and it will unapply it. Okay, so you can try it out, see how you like it. Okay, so once you do it the way that you want, it looks the way you want, you say okay. And then what we need to do is we need to save this. So we're going to go to Save As. You should save this in your Visual Alphabet folder. You're going to save it in your P drive. Go to Alphabet. And you can save it in Final. You can name this as Final Design. Or you can name it whatever the thing is called. Whatever's going to help you remember it. The Photoshop is the format. That's different than what it was. You can leave it as a Photoshop format, or if you change it as a JPEG. The one problem with saving it as a JPEG is that you will lose both of those layers. You will not be able to make any changes with any of these layers. It will flatten it out and it'll glue together, so you will not have any layers. So my suggestion is to just leave it alone, save it as a Photoshop. And that's it. And then we're going to print them out and we're going to hand them in. All right, good luck.